Yo, what is up, AD team? Austin Dunn, I'm back again with another video. Today I have a highly insightful video because we're going to be breaking down dating apps versus in real life when it comes to attracting and getting women. So which one is best, which one should you do, and overall breaking down the pros and cons and everything about it, because I really dissected it, and after this video you're going to definitely know which one you should do for your certain circumstance. But before we get into it, definitely be sure to like the video, subscribe, and if you're on the Patreon, you already seen a video similar to this alongside with the many other topics I talk about. So if you guys want to be on the Patreon, link will be down below, and you guys already know, Level Up Apparel merch, link down below too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so when it comes to attracting women and figuring out your sources of attracting women, all this is called lead generation. So sales and business and dating kind of go hand in hand. And what lead generation means is all we're doing is prospecting. We're prospecting our leads, or people who are interested in our product. And when it comes to dating, we are our product. So all it is a method of lead generation. So when it comes to lead generation and dating, there are multiple sources, two of which we're going to compare and contrast today, but let's go ahead and break down the other sources too. So when it comes to in real life, we have number one, social circle. In my opinion, this is one of the best ways to source girls in real life. But the issue is a lot of people, especially in their adult life, past college years, it gets harder and harder to implement that social circle strategy to your game. Next up, we have approaching. You have day game, which means approaching during the day, malls, coffee shops, grocery stores, etc. And you have night game. Night game is pretty much, when it comes to approaching, the top tier method, just because it's more socially acceptable. It happens more often. You guys have probably approached girls, and if you have, you probably have used night game. So approaching girls in bars, clubs, and that type of social environment when it's night. Then with approaching, we can get even deeper with it. So we can get into warm approaches or cold approaches when it comes to prospecting. Warm approaching meaning that the girl shows interest in you by giving you truth signals and or letting you know in some type of way, non-overtly, that she is interested in you. And then you have cold approach, which is the least optimum type of strategy, which is approaching a stranger that showed no interest in you and basically just shooting a shot in the dark. Each one, when it comes to these in real life strategies, has its pros and cons. But now let's look at the other hand, which is online. So online has taken a huge advantage over the in real life type of strategy over the past, I would say, 5 to 10 years. And with online, we have social media. So we have Instagram, TikTok, things like that to prospect. And then of course, we have dating apps. Dating apps have raised a ton in popularity really over the past 5 years or so. And like I said, we're gonna break down in real life versus dating apps when it comes to our prospecting strategy. So that was lead generation explained really quickly. Now let's move on to the pros and cons of each. So as with anything, there are pros and cons, and you probably have realized this when it comes to your own personal dating life. Some of you guys, accept some of these pros and cons for what they are, but let's go ahead and discuss them. First things up, let's talk about in real life, and I have my notes right here to reference. So I wrote down 3 pros and 3 cons of each. There's definitely a lot more, but these are the 3 main ones that I could think of. So the first one, in real life, improves your confidence and your social skills without a doubt. So if you never approach a chick, chances are you probably have no idea on how to start a conversation and just overall keep the conversation flowing. And that's one of the biggest pros I think cold approach and just approaching in general has done for me and a lot of other men. Another pro of in real life is that you can compensate for your lack of looks with other aspects of your personality. So maybe you're tall, maybe you're more charismatic, things like that. Point is, your looks aren't really the forefront. Yes, they are important, but they're not the forefront when it comes to your interaction with a girl when it comes to approaching. There's so many different variables and aspects that you can use in your favor to kind of, make it not so focused on just your looks. And another in real life pro is that you tend to come across more quality women in real life, depending on where you're at and where you approach them, versus on certain dating apps where the quality can be, very low. But even then, some dating apps have high quality, but we'll get into that later. Now, some cons of in real life is number one, time consuming. In order to be good in real life and make the most out of it, you have to be living a social life. You have to be doing a lot of approaches because the number game is not in your favor. There's not a lot of volume, and it could really be a time constraint if you got other things going on. Con number two, there is a higher rejection percentage. And this is going to be based on a lot of variables. For example, usually a girl on a dating app is single and available. But if you approach a chick, you never know if she's in a relationship or she's already seeing somebody. You might not fit her type. She might be distracted with friends. There's a lot that can go wrong when it comes to approaching. That is why when it comes to approaching, there are more optimal strategies such as, doing warm approaches like I mentioned at the beginning. And another con in which I've already talked about is just overall less volume. Let's say you're at a bar, there are 50 people within the bar, 50 people, and of those 50 people, there are like 20 girls. You only have 20 girls to choose from. Versus, on a dating app, there are hundreds of girls to choose from. So the numbers game really doesn't work out in your favor most of the time when it comes to in real life. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of dating apps. Pro number one, volume. There are a ton of girls to choose from, and based on your location, you will never run out of girls to choose from, which means the numbers game will work higher in your favor. And without a doubt, if you continue playing the numbers game, you will inevitably find somebody who is interested in you. That's why it makes no sense to me when guys say, oh, they get absolutely zero matches. Well, that tells me probably your location is horrible, but it kind of makes no sense to me because the volume is there, especially if you're using multiple dating apps, guys. That's literally thousands of girls at your reach. Number two, it is low effort. You really don't have to get dressed up. You don't got to go out. You don't got to get friends to go out with you. All you have to do is sit on your couch, swipe, message girls, and that's it. Very, very low effort. You can do it throughout the day. You can do it on the toilet. You guys get it. And pro number three, it is popular. A lot of people are on it. A lot of girls are on it. I told you guys that the girl you met at the bar, at some point in time, I guarantee you she was on a dating app or she's probably actively on a dating app. It is just a new wave when it comes to meeting people. And I've even tested this by asking multiple people how they met their partner. And most of the time, 80% of the time, they met online through social media or a dating app in some regard.
Where did you meet your last boyfriend?
Tinder.
Tinder? Seriously?
All right, so there are definitely a lot of cons when it comes to dating apps. And the first one is that looks rule. If you're not the most attractive guy, if you're not considered an 8 or above, chances are then you might find yourself struggling with dating apps because it's all based on looks. Like within an instant, a girl will either swipe left on you or swipe right on you. And girls on dating apps are always looking to disqualify men, even if you are the perfect human specimen. If you stand the wrong way, if you wear the wrong shoes in a picture, swipe left. It's just really, really easy to reject and kind of move on with the dating app. And it's all, like I said, based on looks. Con number two, if you want to get the best results with dating apps, you have to pay to play. But I'm not sure if this is considered a con because in reality, even in real life, in order to get to the best clubs, you still got to pay to play in some degree. The clubs or the bars with the most amount of girls or the best girls, you still got to pay a cover fee. So just with dating apps, in order to get the most out of it, you got to buy some sort of, subscription package or maybe buy a boost here and there in order to get yourself seen out there. So if you don't have the resources or the funds in order to put yourself out there and buy that premium subscription on a dating app, you're not going to get the best results. And even a guy like me, I've tested it. I do not get the best results if I do not pay. And last con number three, high competition. So the 80-20 rule is at play here on dating apps and it's on steroids. The 80% of the women are going after 20% of the top tier men on dating apps. So if you're not within that top 20% or even top 10%, I would say, it makes it definitely difficult in order to see results on dating apps. When in person, the 80-20 rule is still at play, but it's not on steroids, And you'll tend to find that girls are a lot more pickier than they are on dating apps than they are in real life. And you can test this by asking a girl, her ex or seeing her exes. And if they end up meeting her ex in person or through like a social circle, ask a girl and she'll, pull up her ex or whatever and be like, if your ex was on a dating app, would you swipe right or left? Most of the time, I guarantee you it will be left. And that goes to show just how much pickier girls are on dating apps because they're going after those top 20% of men. All right, now we got the pros and cons out the way. Let's talk about which one is best. Which one should you do? And I broke it down even further, guys. And it's gonna be really dependent based on number one, your location, and number two, your appeal. Each guy has a different appeal. Some guys have more what I like to call in real life appeal, and some guys have more what I like to call online appeal. So I'm gonna break down these key attributes to let you know whether or not you have online appeal or in real life appeal. So if you have in real life appeal, some key attributes are number one, height and frame. So if you're above 6 foot, 6'1", or maybe you're a gigantic type of dude, 6'4", 6'5", you're definitely gonna have more in real life appeal. And when I say frame, what I'm talking about is your body genetics when it comes to structure, such as how wide you are, your clavicle, overall, your physique. If you're a big guy, usually big guys tend to do better in person because they have more in real life appeal. Now also, if you have more social charisma, if you're a very confident guy, if you're very outgoing, if you're extroverted, if you can keep a conversation going and you have that good social charisma, chances are you're definitely gonna be a lot more better in person than you are on online dating, just because you're reaching more of that in real life appeal, like I said. And the next one is style. If you have a good sense of style, you know how to dress well, and combined with all these other factors, you're 6'3", you dress well, you're very socially charismatic, you have good charisma, and you're confident, you are gonna do a lot better in real life than you are on dating apps, more than likely. So if you have more in real life appeal with these key attributes, then go ahead and check that off because you are gonna do better in real life. Now let's move on to the online key attributes to have more online appeal. And the first one is being photogenic, knowing how to take pictures, understanding lighting, understanding photography. If you have this down packed, you're gonna have a lot more online appeal because you take great, amazing pictures. You know your angles, you know how to optimize and edit pictures to look, present your best foot forward. So if you do master that, chances are you're gonna have a lot of success with dating apps. Doesn't matter where you go, where you're at, you will have a lot of success. And even if you're like an average guy or slightly above average, whatever, you will still do pretty well on dating apps just because you're setting yourself apart from 90% of the other men on there who have selfies and mirror pics with their Samsung Galaxy S2 or whatever Android phone there is out there. Key attribute number two for online is low body fat percentage. You will for sure get a lot more matches and a lot more online success if you are at a low body fat percentage and you are ripped. You have muscle base, you have a six pack, you are lean, you're toned. Easy guys. So if you're on your way working to become that low body fat percentage, or you naturally just sit at a higher body fat percentage, you really can't take the shirtless ripped pictures like some of these other guys do. With that being said, you'll probably find yourself having better success in real life than on dating apps, because keep in mind the competition you're dealing with. You're dealing with the 20% of guys who are ripped, who are taking great pictures, who have social status. This sounds very familiar what I'm talking about, right? Even me myself, I have more online appeal, right? I'm literally discussing myself right now. And the next one that I was going to talk about is social status. If you have social status, if you have a good Instagram following, a good TikTok following, whatever the case may be, you have pre-selection online, you will do a lot better online than you do in real life, more than likely. And that's because, like I said, you're able to present that pre-selection, you're able to present that social proof that you have to your name and how you are. So it definitely has been a benefit in my favor, and that is even why when I approach girls in real life, I get their Instagram so that they can see the social proof and the pre-selection that I have with my social media status. Now, those were the key attributes that will dictate whether or not you have more in real life appeal or have more dating app appeal. But now let's talk about the commonalities between the two that, kind of meet in the middle. And number one is that you still must meet her minimum looks threshold. You still must be her type. Doesn't matter if you approach her in person, doesn't matter if you meet her on a dating app, she still must be attracted to you guys. The only really way you can get around this is being in her social circle and gaining familiarity over time with her, and her getting a sense of your personality, then falling for you. But unless you're in middle school or high school, in some colleges, chances are you're not in a position to be in that type of way. So like I said, you still must be attractive. You still must level up. You still must be the best version of yourself. Just because you think you're a below average guy, that, oh, I'm gonna approach this girl in person, now she'll accept me, versus on a dating app, nah bro, you're still gonna get rejected. And that's another commonality between the two, is that you will still get rejected, you will still get flaked on. Just because you find success in approaching girls in person, maybe they give you their number out of pity, their Instagram out of pity, or just so that you can go away, they're still not going to go on a date with you. They're still not. So, you know, some of these guys be like, oh, I have more success in real life, but bro, you're just getting numbers. You're not actually going out on dates with these chicks. You're still not closing with them. So are you really seeing the same success? No, you're just masking it based on what you think is success, which is getting her number. But the truth is, it's still the same. And the next commonality is that you still got to put yourself out there. Whether it be on apps or in person, you still must put yourself out there. You still must cast your net and, you know, be the bait to attract the fish. Remember that fishing analogy I gave in the past few videos? How you want to be the tastiest bait you possibly can be. You cast yourself out there, then you catch the fish. It's still the same thing whether it's dating apps or in person. And I did a poll on my community, and I was asking guys, like, how would you describe your dating life right now? And a lot of the guys were saying, oh, they just don't date because they don't want to put the time or energy into it. So if you're a lazy type of guy, or you just don't want to deal with the time, energy, or investment when it comes to dating, then just go ahead and back out. Go ahead and go, what's it called, MGTOW? Men going their own way or something like that. Then that might be a better option for you. So we talked about the pros and cons, which one is best based on your attributes, and also the commonalities between the two. Now I want to discuss my theory when it comes to dating apps versus online. And I have a theory that the girls who I've met on dating apps and I've had success with, I truly believe if I was to meet that same girl in a day games type of environment or situation, like a grocery store or a coffee shop or whatever, that same girl would reject me but actually give me a chance on a dating app. Crazy to think about, and I have a lot of reasons why I think this way, mostly because of the social stigma of approaching women when it comes to the day, and a lot of variables I go against not your favor. And also, like I said, I'm able to present myself in a better light through a dating app than I am in person. But I don't feel the same way if I was to meet that same girl in a night game or, you know, night environment, a night social environment, like a club or a bar or something like that. So overall, like I said, you still must level up. You still must become the best version of yourself, whether or not you decide to pick dating apps or in real life. And when it comes to the best, I think that as a man, you should use all your resources. Use everything to acquire leads. You should be using multiple dating apps because each dating apps has its pros and cons and quality there. You should be living a social life. You should be going out with friends. You should be approaching girls in your daytime if you find them attractive. Do absolutely everything. I don't know why a lot of people have this singularity mindset when it comes to pretty much everything in their life, when I focus on doing everything and being a jack of all trades. And so if you agree with that too, go ahead and like the video and let me know your thoughts below on dating apps versus approaching. What do you prefer to do? What do you like to do best? Hopefully this video was super insightful for you, and subscribe for more. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.